La Toya Jackson, born 2 years before Michael, played a significant role in his life. She was at the hospital the day he died. She signed the death certificate. She helped plan his funeral. And tonight, in her first television interview since he died, she makes inflammatory charges, as you will hear. She also gives us rare insight into his children and how they will be raised. La Toya Jackson is not afraid to speak out. And one of the things she wants to make clear, she was not paid for this interview.
We have a gentleman here that needs help, and he's not breathing.
They had to administer CPR.
I wanted to wake up.
We're still trying to figure out what his condition is.
He apparently suffered a heart attack.
I just want to know what's happening.
As rumors that Michael Jackson might be dying spread around Los Angeles, fans gathered spontaneously at his rented home, Neverland Ranch, at his star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Michael's sister, La Toya, got a phone call from their father.
And he said, Michael's sick. They're going to take him to the hospital. You must get over there right away.
Fans were already assembling outside the UCLA Medical Center when La Toya arrived.
And I went into the room, and there's my mother sitting down. And there are the kids, all three of them sitting on her lap, just crying as loud as they could. They were just crying uncontrollably. And there I was, screaming and crying. And I caught myself and said, you have to be strong for the kids. Stop it. Get a grip to yourself. And that's what I did.
My brother, the legendary king of pop, Michael Jackson, passed away on Thursday, June 25th, 2009 at 2:26 p.m.
Of the 9 Jackson siblings, La Toya told us she was asked to be the legal guardian of her brother's body. And with her family, she planned a memorial service in Los Angeles on July 7th.
The night prior to the memorial, we were to view the body, whoever wanted to. Well, no one really wanted to, except for myself and Paris and my sister. We went to see it.
Paris put something in it.
She put a heart that she had purchased. And she wanted Michael to have that heart because it's the kind that separates the love heart where you have to.
And where was it put on Michael?
She wanted to put it around his neck, and we couldn't get it around his neck, so she wrapped it around his wrist, his right wrist. And I felt so good. I said, he will always have this next to him, and yours is next to your heart. And she's still wearing the other half today. And she said, I will never, ever, Auntie La Toya, let this go. I will wear it every day of my life, every day.
I was honored to be asked to sit near the family at the public memorial. Paris was crying on your shoulder. Did she just take it harder than the boys?
Paris, I don't think the world knows, has such a love for her father.
And Paris wanted to speak.
Yes, she did.
At that memorial.
Yes, she absolutely did. She wanted so badly to say something to her father.
You said you would be the light in the autumn.
I think it was Stevie Wonder that was on. And she said, Auntie La Toya, can I go on now and say something to Daddy? And I started thinking, I said, you know what, Paris? At the end, we're all going to say goodbye and go on stage and thank the audience and say goodbye. I said, I think that'll be a great opportunity for you to go then. And she said, okay, I'll do it then.
Ever since I was born, Daddy has been the best father you could ever imagine.
And it just touches her heart to know that he will no longer be with her.
And I just wanted to say I love him so much.
Where there is love, I'll be there.
From their earliest years, Michael and La Toya shared a special bond within their strict Jehovah's Witness family, and they had fun together. When Michael moved to New York in 1977, La Toya went with him. It was the first time either of them had lived away from home. Michael produced and sang backup vocals for La Toya's first solo album.
Michael Jackson. Thriller!
Beat it, Michael Jackson.
La Toya was there for many of his shining moments, including the 1984 Grammys. Through the late 80s, as Michael famously altered his appearance, La Toya seemed to be changing her own image right along with him. La Toya, you look so much like Michael. People tell you that?
Yes, they do. As a matter of fact, my mother always says that, but she's been saying it even more since he's passed. And she goes, oh, your mannerisms are just like him. You guys always act like the whole bit, so.
You're dressed like Michael today.
Yes, 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 yes. This is in honor of him, and I love him. And we always play with brooches and things. It's so funny, because growing up, I would say, Michael, put this here. This will look great. And I would take off my belt, and take the buckle off and cut it and put it here and put it here. And then he just started wearing all the epaulets and everything. And
it's all your fault.
No, he wears it well. He wears it very well.
But in her early 30s, La Toya veered away from Michael into treacherous waters. She married her manager, Jack Gordon, 20 years older, and a convicted felon, who she says took control of her life, moving her away from her brother's influence.
He would lock me in the house no matter what. He would close the closet door and say, don't leave that closet. Do you know I would stay in the closet for 8 hours and not leave? Because that's how well trained I was. That's how much fear he had instilled in me.
La Toya says Gordon took everything, her passport, her bank account, and then he beat her regularly.
And action! Spark! La Toya!
La Toya says he forced her to pose for Playboy and appear in several pornographic videos.
Barbara, I was just like a little kid, just right there. And you to do what I say, I tell you what to do. I'm your puppeteer. I pull the strings and you act. And guess what? I did it, Barbara. I didn't know any better. I was too afraid because he promised if I did anything out of the ordinary that he would kill me. And he took it a step further. He said, and if you don't believe me, I will do it to your brother as well. And I believed him. I had no reason not to.
And these kids are going to be scarred for the rest of their life.
During the time of your marriage, you accused Michael of being a pedophile.
Yes.
But I cannot, and I will not, be a silent collaborator of his crimes.
Gordon gave me this piece of paper and he says, read this. He goes, you better say this, you say this.
Jack Gordon forced you to say that your brother was a pedophile. Did you think he was?
No, I did not. The courts have proven that too as well.
Why did Jack Gordon want you to say that your brother was a pedophile?
He had this hatred towards my brother that I can never explain to you why it was.
Just to make things very clear, you recanted your accusation. Are you sure today that your brother never had any undue relationship with a child?
Barbara, Michael is not. He is not.
He is not a pedophile.
No, he's not.
There is a book out that suggests that Michael was gay. Do you think he was?
No, absolutely not.
You think he liked women?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
After 9 years, La Toya says she finally found the courage to leave Gordon and reunite with her brothers and sisters. You have said that what you went through with Jack Gordon made you understand some things that were happening to Michael. Explain.
Barbara, what I went through with Jack Gordon, him controlling me, controlling my entire life, you must remember, everybody in that circle that I was with, the security that I had were the security that he hired. The girls that worked for me were the girls that he hired. He controlled everything I did, I said, everything. So, as a result, I knew that Michael was going through the same thing that I was going through.
When we come back, La Toya's accusations of conspiracy and murder.
I knew something terrible would happen at the end, not to mention the fact that Michael constantly told me, La Toya, they're going to murder me, they're going to kill me.
When La Toya looks at video of her brother, she not only sees him, but she sees the people surrounding him, who she says did him harm. She has made accusations about a shadowy entourage that she believes contributed to his death.
I knew Michael was surrounded by people that positioned themselves in his life, positioned themselves to control and take advantage of him. And that's what bothered me more than anything else, because I knew something terrible would happen at the end, not to mention the fact that Michael constantly told me, "Latoya, if I die, they're going to murder me, they're going to kill me." He would tell me that, Barbara. When I found out he had actually passed, I said, "No, it wasn't an accident. He was murdered."
Your brother was murdered.
I always believed that from day one, when I found out that he was no longer with us. I said, "I'm not going to accept anything else, Barbara." They could have told me a heart attack. They could have told me he had fallen off a ladder, and I would have said, "No, it's not a heart attack. He was murdered." Did he fall off a ladder? No, he was murdered.
Who murdered your brother?
I don't know exactly who. I think there are more players involved than we know. This is just my opinion. This is what I feel. I know what Michael was afraid of. I know that when you're in a position...
What was he afraid of?
He was afraid of his life. He would say, "I'm afraid of my life. I'm afraid they're going to assassinate me. I'm afraid they're going to kill me." He would always say that, Barbara.
LaToya said that Michael was murdered by people who would benefit financially from his death, but she never made it clear who she believes was involved or how they would profit. Will you name names?
I think within time it just might come out and people will know.
LaToya, wouldn't the family also, as heartbroken as they are, also profit from Michael's death? You know, things that come in the future, movies, recordings, memorabilia.
I think the family's concern at the moment really is getting his estate to make sure everything is being paid for, the debts are taken care of, and things of that nature. And then after that, making sure the kids are set, his children are set. But I understand your point, but I think that's what's most important.
We now know that Michael Jackson died of a fatal combination of drugs, including the powerful anesthetic propofol, which was administered by this man. Did Dr. Conrad Murray murder your brother?
Barbara, something went wrong.
It has been reported that Michael's eldest son, Prince, was summoned by Dr. Murray to help resuscitate Michael, Prince's own father. That must have been a terrible experience for him. Is it true?
Yes, he did call Prince. He watched him do this, Barbara, and you don't do that to a child. You don't do that to a child, especially when you knew, prior to asking that child to come up, that Michael was no longer alive.
You feel that Michael was dead long before he went to the hospital?
Oh, yes.
Dr. Murray has denied any wrongdoing in connection with Jackson's death. LaToya, you signed the death certificate.
Yes, I did. The doctor wouldn't sign it.
Dr. Conrad Murray would not sign the death certificate?
No.
Did you find that strange?
Everyone did.
Late in the night of Michael's death, LaToya went to his home, where she found an intravenous drip stand beside the bed Jackson had been in, and oxygen canisters lining the walls. She has been accused of taking cash, jewelry, and other personal possessions, a charge she denies. She says her brother usually kept millions in cash and jewelry at his house, but it was nowhere to be found. She believes it was stolen.
I didn't get to the house until, I think it was 11:30, 12 o'clock at night. So that entire day went by, it was over 12 hours. Michael's house was like it was ransacked when we got there. I said, "Who did this?" And I asked security, I said, "Who did this?" And he goes...
LaToya has also been accused of taking computer hard drives from her brother's home containing more than 100 unreleased Michael Jackson songs.
No, I did not take Michael's hard drive.
Who has these unreleased songs?
I don't know.
You took no personal possessions, you took no jewelry, you took no money, so on. From the very beginning, LaToya has said that Michael Jackson was murdered.
It was murder. I think someone did it. That's my opinion.
But it wasn't until 2 weeks ago that the Los Angeles County coroner backed up her claim, ruling the death a homicide, although not necessarily premeditated murder. The LAPD is continuing to investigate Conrad Murray, as well as other doctors known to have prescribed narcotics to Jackson. Do you blame Dr. Murray?
Barbara, I blame any and everybody who was instrumental in Michael's life, providing him with drugs, because it was wrong.
Your brother was a wonderful and sweet person, you say, but he was a drug addict.
Barbara,
he had 8 brothers and sisters. Couldn't anybody help him? Couldn't anybody intervene? Couldn't anybody do anything?
We tried many, many times to intervene, and we were kept away. My father tried more than anybody else. He would go almost every week and try to intervene.
Michael was a grown man. Does he bear no responsibility? Your brother asked for these injections.
Barbara, I can ask you for $1 billion, but you'll say, no, LaToya, I'm not giving it to you. They're doctors. This is going against their license, Barbara. You don't do things like that.
Michael hired his doctors himself.
That's what we've been told. We don't know that to be sure, do we?
What's the alternative?
That someone else around Michael hired those doctors. And I've been told that over and over and over again.
LaToya would not provide details, saying she doesn't want to hinder the ongoing police investigation. If Jackson were still alive, he would be almost halfway through a highly anticipated 50-appearance concert tour, his first in 12 years.
These will be my final show performances in London. This will be it. This is it. And when I say this is it, it really means this is it.
Did Michael want to do 50 concerts?
Absolutely not.
Then why did he?
Michael wanted to do 10 shows, and these people came into his life. They came and says, no, you have to do more, you have to do this. They booked them without Michael even knowing. Michael couldn't do those many shows, Barbara. That's a 22-year-old probably couldn't do those many shows the way they had them scheduled back to back. It's impossible.
2 days before he died, as he rehearsed in Los Angeles, Jackson appeared strong. The tour organizers have said that Jackson had agreed in advance to the number of shows.
Hold for applause, slow umbrella fade out.
LaToya believes people will be shocked at the outcome of the homicide investigation.
Michael!
She was not only a devoted sister to Michael, but a loving aunt to Prince Michael, Paris, and Blanket. When we come back, how are Michael's children now, and what will happen to them in the future? Do the children know Diana Ross? And does she want to raise these children?
You are my daddy, my only daddy. You make me happy, and skies are gray.
Over the years, we captured only fleeting glimpses of Michael Jackson's 3 children peeking out from behind a variety of masks. For most of us, their faces were revealed for the first time at Michael's memorial service. Prince Michael, age 13, his sister Paris, age 12, and the youngest, 7-year-old Prince Michael II, also known as Blanket. Their aunt LaToya Jackson provided comfort. How are these children? Is there a grief counselor for them?
Yes, yes, they are, and they're doing absolutely fine.
Will they be homeschooled, or will they go to a regular school?
They'll be homeschooled, just the way they were with their dad.
How much do they know of the circumstances surrounding their father's death? The drugs, the possible conspiracy, so on. How much do they know?
They know very little. They're really not allowed to watch television. Of course, the Disney Channel is fine, and that's the way their father had it, and that's the way they are now at the moment. Everything is monitored when it comes to that, because people are so cruel.
I love my daddy so much.
Paris constantly says she misses her dad, and every single day she wears a shirt of her dad's.
Because I'm keeping...
From the day they were born, the identity of their biological father has been questioned. Michael married the mother of his 2 eldest children, Debbie Rowe.
They know who Debbie Rowe is. Whether or not they know she's their mother, I'm not so sure.
Do they see her?
They haven't seen her since he's passed, but they're more than welcome to, of course.
Does she want to see them?
I think you would have to ask her that.
It now appears as if Michael didn't father his own children, that his own sperm was not used. Do you believe that's true?
Well, we don't know, do we, Barbara? It doesn't really matter. Those are Michael's kids. He raised those kids. They were in his arms when they were born. It's very interesting because Angelina and Brad, they adopt kids all day long, and we don't ask.
I mean, this is tough to answer, but there are those who say that Michael did not use his own sperm because he wanted sperm to come from someone white so that his own children would be white and not suffer as he had to.
I can't answer that. I have never asked him.
Do you know anything about the biological parents of Michael's youngest son?
Blanket?
Blanket.
I said to Michael, I said, he looks Hispanic. And Michael said, he is.
And who will raise the children now? Would Michael have wanted Joe Jackson to be involved with his children?
I think he would have.
La Toya, Michael said he was terrified of his father, that his father, when he saw him, he would make him throw up.
Barbara, you must understand something. He made amends with his father. That's their grandfather. By the way, they love their grandfather. They like the fact that he's very outspoken. And they say that Grandpa's, he tells you like it is, but Grandma, she'll just say, oh, honey, it's going to be fine.
In his will, Michael named his 79-year-old mother, Catherine, as the sole guardian of the children. But his will also states that if she ever becomes unable to care for them, he wants them to be raised by his close friend, Diana Ross.
Diana Ross is second in line for the children, of course. And Mother has spoken to her about things of that nature, but I don't wish to go into detail with you what was said.
Do the children know Diana Ross?
No.
Do they know that she might possibly be the woman raising them?
No, they don't. No.
And does she want to raise these children?
I think my mother knows the answer to that one.
Is there the possibility that, I don't know, that you and Janet might raise them, or your sister Rebe, who has, what, 3 children of her own, has been married 41 years?
Rebe has 3 adult children, actually. Actually, Rebe's a grandmother.
Why Michael preferred Diana Ross over his own 8 siblings was not explained in the will. Could Rebe be the one who raises the children?
There's a possibility. She's done a wonderful job with her children.
So right now, if anything did happen to your mother, you're not sure that it would be Diana Ross?
I think my mother will probably discuss that and make that decision.
Is the family unified now?
I think when a situation like this happens, it brings a family closer.
Some of the family wanted him buried at
Neverland. And Michael said never, never, never at Neverland.
Jackson vowed he would never return to his once beloved ranch after he was arrested and charged for molesting a child there. He was acquitted in 1995, but the ordeal almost ended his career. That is why La Toya chose the famous Hollywood resting place Forest Lawn Cemetery for his burial. Michael was finally laid to rest last week in a private ceremony. A lot of people attending this private ceremony beyond the family.
Actually, we wanted it very, very private. We strictly just wanted just really close family, and then just a few friends. It was very difficult to do because my mother didn't really want to attend whatsoever. It's the final call for her in her eyes, and she had to, of course, because the children said, Grandma, please come with us. And she says, okay, dear, sweet, of course I'll come.
Can you tell us what Michael was wearing?
Michael was looking absolutely fabulous. Michael looked just as if he was on stage performing. And he says, let me say a quick prayer. And he closed his eyes to say a prayer. He was dressed in all white pearls, beads going across, draped across, beautiful big gold belt, like a belt that you win being a boxer.
And full makeup?
Full makeup.
Was Michael buried wearing one white glove?
No, he was wearing 2 black leather gloves. He did have a white glove, though. but he wasn't wearing it.
Where was it?
It was in the casket.
La Toya recently released a new song, Home, dedicated to her brother. The proceeds will be donated to one of Michael's favorite charities, AIDS Project, LA.
We lost an incredible person, Barbara. And I don't think we'll find a person as talented, a person who thought the way he thought, a person with the heart that Michael has, Barbara. People aren't that way anymore. He's special. He wasn't God, but he was certainly God-like. He was the closest thing to a God that I knew. And I'm gonna miss that.
La Toya says her most pressing aim is to see those responsible for her brother's death brought to justice. You can hear more from La Toya Jackson when she appears on The View this coming Wednesday and Friday, September 16th and 18th. We'll be right back.